What is up, everybody? Hope you guys are doing well. Hope you guys are having a great time wherever you are, morning, evening, or night. As always, it's your host, Andrew Esquire. Legal Mindset, we teach you to be your own judge, coming to you from Seoul, South Korea, on a very frosty day. But it's good to see everybody here in the chat. How's it going? Shout out to everybody who's here early in the chat. Danielle, Lele, Kelly Wilson, Toothless. Good to see you guys here early in the chat hanging out. Gemma. How's it going? We're going to have some great information today on two cases. There's actually big updates, big news stories on two cases. And I am very happy to have planned, because I totally planned these releases. I totally planned these updates. And I 100% intentionally knew they were going to come out right before I was going to have a good friend of the show, Alana of Legally Dirty Blonde podcast on.
Hey, everybody.
We knew it was going to happen, right? We knew there would be a search warrant released. We absolutely knew there'd be a new trial date. We 100% called it, right, Alana?
We've got the inside scoop.
But it's good to have you back. Like we were talking last year about Boozy, about the Amber Heard trial. You had some fantastic coverage of that. Guys, if you haven't seen her coverage of that, that's over here. The link is below to her podcast, the Legally Dirty Blonde podcast. You can see that over here. There you go. Now it's showing up.
Here it is.
But she also did a great expose of Mr. Boozy. And the crazy thing is, Alana, is that right now, this episode and what you talked about last September is more relevant than ever, because right now he is being exposed in real time by Nate. He's just busting them up right now.
Yep. Good stuff.
Have you seen some of that's going on right now with
I've
with
seen
Nate
some of it. Yeah. It's pretty wild.
Yeah.
Nate's doing a good job.
He's doing a fantastic job, but we've been talking about this for a year now almost. Boozy's exposing Boozy, but probably about 8-9 months.
It feels like a year, but it's been like probably 6 months. Yeah.
Yeah, it feels like a year for sure, because
it feels like 3 years.
It honestly does, because there's been so much that's happened. I started YouTube 2 years ago, and it feels like a decade now.
Wow. Only 2 years ago.
Only 2 years ago. Only 2 years ago.
Feel like a decade. Yeah.
Yeah, because I've been covering like the Rittenhouse trial, Amber Heard. We've had a lot of other big things going on then, a lot of big news items. And with COVID and everything, the kind of time warp of COVID, it seems like things are really moving along. We've had election cycles here, so it's been a lot. But and the last thing was the Meghan Markle and Harry docuseries. Did you watch that?
I did not watch that. No, I have no desire to watch that at all. I have thoughts, obviously, probably that are similar to yours on the two of them. But I did hear about his book. I don't know. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, you guys can, you can, I mean, what did you think about it? Just generally, this is my show. You can just let it out. We're totally free.
What did I think about it? What did I think about I didn't read the book.
Or Meghan and Harry in general.
Like
in general, Meghan and Harry in general.
I think Meghan's somewhat of an Amber Heard, honestly. I think she's a little bit better at lying than Amber is in some respects. I'm not sure what I think about Harry. I used to feel kind of bad for him, but then like with this book, I think he sounds like a brat, like a spoiled fucking brat.
Yeah.
I mean, he talked about some stuff in there that I just was like, why are you talking about this? Like, I don't know if you saw, he was like talking about him and his brother's dick. Like, why are you talking about that in your book?
Wait, what?
Yes.
I did not catch that. What was, okay, give me context. Was he like we were measuring our dick size in the bathroom? Like what was the context?
That would have been funnier. No, he was talking about whether or not they were circumcised, which I just don't know why anybody needs to know that.
Objection relevance, like serious objection relevance. Like why
objection
is
hearsay?
Why do people need to know? I mean, not that it's something you should be embarrassed of. It's just literally completely just out of the blue.
Exactly. I don't know the context of that, but I don't know what context there could be to be talking about that.
Yeah. And by the way, you're already getting some love from Terrace in a 199 super chat. Go Alana!
Oh, that's my sister.
Oh, shout out Terrace. Hey, thank you so much. Shout out to your sister. Hope she's doing well up there. Did you have a good season with your family, New Year's, Christmas, all that?
Oh yeah, we had a really good Christmas. New Year's spent separately, but still good.
Well, that's
How
still
about
good.
you?
I was talk about separately. I've been over here in Korea. I have not been back, did not see any of my family for the actual holidays, except my brother did a stint in India and we met in Thailand. So I was able to hang out with him in a foreign country, which was actually really fucking cool.
Yeah,
so
that sounds awesome.
So we had a really good time. So it's good to see him, sent some stuff back with him. But it was really good to see him and connect. But I'll be going to the US again, probably in March of next year, and then maybe again in July, September. But I'm trying to make it bigger trips. I made the mistake last year of making a lot of little small couple day trips. And that's kind of a waste of my time because as soon as I come back, I'm just dead on the time zone change.
Yeah, the jet lag.
Yeah. So I'll try to come back. And so I'm going to try to go and do like a Texas, Florida, southern tour, and then maybe, go to some other places. And I'll try to meet some people in the US that I haven't met before.
Yeah. So are you like permanently going to stay in Korea, you think though?
I'm not. I'm going to, move around, right? I mean, my plan is to, kind of have 2 or 3 places I flip between, preferably 2, like hey, it's cold as hell here. Like right now I'm freezing my ass off in Seoul. So, kind of rotate seasonally, like, okay, I'm up here for one season and over here another season. But since everything I do is remote, there's nothing barring me other than visas and residency, which I'm getting handled now. So
there you go.
Yeah, I want to make it sure so that if there's like another Corona lockdown, I'm not stuck in one particular place, because that's the issue. Yeah. We're getting we're getting a lot of stuff here now that China opened its borders. A lot of the Chinese tourists are coming, and now people are suddenly getting sick. So it's very, it's just coincidental, totally coincidental that this is happening over here. Total coincidence.
Good luck with that.
Yeah. Very interesting. I'm fine though. I'm fine. But that being said, about law, so my guests know, maybe can you give a little bit of your background? Maybe some people didn't see you before, maybe they missed you. Can you give a little bit about like your legal background generally and kind of generally what you do?
Generally what I do is medical malpractice defense litigation. So that's pretty that's like my main area of expertise. I've like recently started doing some more of the like trip and fall things, which is not my favorite thing, but it's all right. Mainly medical malpractice is my thing. So I like to defend the doctors and nurses and hospitals when they get sued.
Yeah, and that happens a lot. We'll say that happens a lot.
In New York, especially, it happens a lot.
Well, what about New York law?
There's no cap on damages.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yep.
So tort reform was not a thing in there for capping damages.
Yeah. So people like, getting $80 million verdicts. I mean, it's why wouldn't you bring a case if you can? Or if you think you can?
Yeah, I would 100%. I mean, at that point, that's just incentivizing litigation.
Agreed.
I mean, I have friends in Orlando that do med mal, but they only take their specialty is trial cases. They're going to trial, not settling. But they only take the most egregious cases, like the doctor left a tool inside and went back to get it and then left another tool inside. You know what I mean? Like it's really, or like really
cut the wrong leg off or something like that. Like, and you know what? I'm not gonna sit here and pretend like doctors don't make mistakes. Like, of course that happens, and people deserve compensation for that. But there's a lot of times where that is not the case. So that's
absolutely, 100%. There's lots of times where it's not. It's just, hey, I had something that I'm not happy about, or this was really expensive, and I want to try to recompensate myself. So I'm just gonna say they screwed up and sue them.
Exactly.
Yeah. Let me say hello because I got some of the members here. I've actually had a couple. So Linda Carnal, welcome as a member of the RPG, the Replay Gang. And also welcome to Drew, Matthew, and Good For You 3000. All of you join the Replay Gang, guys. You get access to the videos that I've archived. So I have started to have to archive my videos because of the ridiculous strikes that are going on YouTube. I'm going to have Joe Neerman on tomorrow. We're going to be talking about his latest strike for reviewing a Vice video and giving commentary on a Vice video. He got a strike. And they ended up turning it into a community guideline strike because apparently they said he repeatedly broke copyright. So we're going to be talking about him about that. But that's why I archive my videos, because there's people out there that are going through with bad intent and filing these claims. The boozy bots, you know, the herd stands, people that don't like certain topics that I've covered. They just won't like it, and they'll come through and mass flag it, and YouTube is still incentivizing that. So the members, RPG, you guys get that access, and you get it for a very cheap price, and you get access to the emojis. So you do have the Amber Turd emoji. Remember to drop those in the chat today. We're going to be talking about some Amber related topics. His strike was sorry, I'm laughing because like his strike was anti-Semitic. Yes. Did it get reversed, Jim? I'm not sure. I have to check. But even if it didn't, we're going to talk about why, because it's problematic even for a creator to be struck for a day, right? Even if he was struck for 2 days, this should not be happening. They should presumptively maybe give you a warning. Maybe, that individual video gets taken down, but not something that prevents you from making content and posting. That's my problem here. And if you guys don't know, it definitely disincentivizes you in the algorithm. It's definitely something that they derank you. They, take your subs. It's a lot of problems. So I'll talk about that with Joe tomorrow. And by the way, guys, if you want another place to follow Alana, you can always go over here to her. Let me just go here because I think it's actually sharing the tab, not my screen. I was like, here we go. Perfect. You can go over here to her Twitter, which is at LegallyDirtyBlonde. So follow her over there. You got that blue check mark now. Welcome to the blue check mark club.
Well, you know what? My fat thumbs can't do it. Need the edits. Need the edit button.
I honestly though, I actually have used that already. Like I've used it at least twice.
So have I. I literally make a typo every time.
So I like
Use
it.
the wrong accidentally.
Yeah, I like the preview. I like the preview function. I like all that. It's good stuff. So let's jump over here let's start with Sarah Boone. So Alana, what do you know about the Sarah Boone case? Like, what have you heard about it? I want to get your knowledge on this case.
I mean, I know a decent amount about it. I've paid pretty close attention. I know that, I watched the video of the body cam footage. I've watched her interrogation video. And I know that they're having is the pre-trial, or they're starting the trial on the 30th?
So they were supposed to start the trial on the 30th. However, we just had an update here. This is actually the Orange County Clerk of Court. This is the records. So you can see here, Sarah Boone, date of birth 10/10/1977. She's represented by Frank Bankowitz.
Oh my God, she's the day after my birthday.
No. Seriously?
Ugh. At least it's not the exact same.
Okay, I was gonna say the date, right? The date of month.
Yeah, I got mine's the 9th.
But not the year.
Oh no.
I was gonna say you're definitely not 77. I was like, do not shatter my. Okay. There's no way.
No.
just making sure. Just making sure.
Maybe I should just tell people that though.
Yeah, that I'm the same date as Sarah Boone. So she's charged with second-degree murder. She pled not guilty in 2020. So mind you, this is something that she was arrested for in February of 2020, like beginning of Corona time. And then she pled not guilty in Orange County. She's charged with second-degree murder, which is unintentional murder. Not that is a material fact that differs her from a lot of cases, like Casey Anthony, for example, where they charged with intentional first-degree murder and missed. So there was
and the premeditation is out too, right?
Yes, Premeditation is out completely. It does not need to be premeditated. It does not need to be intentional. It can be unintentional, and you can be got for murder too. There was a hearing on the 17th, and they made a motion to continue. So Frank Bankowitz here made this motion. Let me zoom in a little bit. Actually, I'll just bring it to the bottom. It makes it a little easier to read. So here you go. This is filed on 117. So there was a pre-trial conference that was set. The defendant is charged with second-degree murder. Those are all facts. The discovery is voluminous, but is ongoing. So they say they still got stuff coming in. The motion is made in good faith and not for the purpose of delay. They ask that the court continue until April, right? So they asked this was to be continued until April. This is all they had to plead, that they're just making a good faith motion, and they granted it. They granted it, and it was moved to April 10th with a pre-trial hearing March 28th. So the interesting thing is, guys, ladies and gentlemen, I may be in Florida then. So your boy may be at this pre-trial conference. This could happen. I will tell you that right now. But unfortunately, we are not having this conference then. So we're not having this not having this trial next week. Or 2 weeks from now. I was looking forward to covering this trial in 2 weeks, but we'll have to wait.
I don't believe that there's voluminous discovery left.
You don't believe that? Why don't you believe that, Alana?
Because what else could there be? I mean, like, you tell me it's the Idaho case? Sure. Yes, that I believe. How much more could there be in this case?
Well, see that's actually a good one right there, Alana, because a lot of people want the Idaho case to go in like a month. You know, they're ready on this case. I mean, the public, right? You know, the public, right?
Yeah.
And a lot of people are asking, well, when do you think the Idaho case is going to go? When is it going to go to trial? My answer is, even if they rushed it, and I talked to Andrea Burkhart about this as well, even if they rushed it, they're not going to get it. Even if she does not waive speedy trial, she wouldn't get a trial set before August, I think. Kohberger wouldn't get a trial before August.
He did waive speedy trial already. Yeah.
And because he waived speedy, I think next year would be fortunate. That would be fast to do it next year, I think. I think we're looking more often in probably the same with this trial 2 years from now. So we're looking at it something in maybe 2020, late 2024, 2025. Yeah.
I think you're right. There's a lot to go through in that case.
Yeah, there's just so much evidence, right? There's like DNA. Yeah. There's,
I mean, the DNA
Battle of the
alone.
Experts.
Yep, Battle of the Experts.
What did you think about the DNA evidence? Just real quick, we'll go back to Boone, but I just want to get you on Bryan Kohberger, what you thought about the DNA evidence.
I mean, I think to the average juror, that's going to be pretty damning. But obviously, there's an argument to be made that it's touch DNA, and he could have given the knife to somebody like weeks or months ago. You know, there's a lot of things that they can say.
Yeah. Just checking the other socials here. People, there's now a rant. I now have like a rant function on Rumble, so I can like actually check the rants, which is actually kind of good. And let me check over here on locals. And guys, you guys can come over here to locals. You guys can come over here to Rumble if you want to also comment on this, and appreciate y'all on all those platforms. Seems like we're good on all of those. Okay. But what I want to go over with her is I think they want to use a defense for Sarah Boone. I think one of the reasons why they're delaying, why they're continuing here, is to do the battered spouse syndrome defense. And let me just read it under the Florida rules for you guys, and I'll enlarge this real quick. So in any criminal case, it shall be the intention of the defendant to rely upon a defense of battered spouse syndrome at trial. No evidence offered by the defendant for the purpose of establishing that defense shall be admitted in the case unless advance notice in writing is given by the defendant as hereinafter provided. So they haven't, I don't think they've given this yet, but they still have time to file this.
No, they haven't given notice.
They have
They're
not
going to be
given
late.
notice. Well, hold on though. Defendant shall give intent to rely upon a defense of battered spouse syndrome no later than 30 days prior to trial. The notice shall contain a statement of particulars showing the nature of the defense the defendant expects to prove, and the names and addresses of the witnesses by whom the defendant expects to show battered spouse syndrome insofar as possible. So she would have to file a notice by March 10th in order to do this. But the rumor is, the scuttlebutt is, she does intend to try to assert this defense.
Do you think that's why they asked for the continuance as well? Probably.
I think so. I think so too. I mean, I think that's why they ended up asking for the continuance, because I think she has a specific defense she has in mind. This is her, Alana. This is her sixth attorney. Like,
I did not know that.
Okay.
And didn't he not even come the previous, not yesterday, but the day before, or the time before? He didn't even come. Yeah.
No. So I like why?
She's like Amber.
Right. I was gonna say, like, what type of client? Because like you've seen clients, right? Like, what type of client goes through 6 attorneys? Like, what type of person would go through that?
I couldn't tell you. Nobody would ever leave me as their attorney, of course. So I don't know the answer to that.
No one would ever. They just can't quit you, Alana. By the way, much love. You're getting much love from the chat, and I think Kurt was saying hello. Where's Kurt at? He was up there earlier. What's up, Kurt? Hope you're doing well, brother. And Kurt. lots of love from the chat. So what I want to bring up about battered spouse syndrome, is just kind of some of the elements there, and some of the analysis that goes along with that. Because
sure,
the way that's looked at is kind of different. Do you know if New York acknowledges it as a defense? Because it's really related to self-defense, and the way it's treated in Florida is as an extension of self-defense. Does New York, because you're practicing in the New York area, is that something that
they
exists?
do? Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So
as far as I'm aware, yes, it does.
So typically, at least the way it works in Florida, correct me if this is different for New York, but the way it works is it's essentially a self-defense claim that you assert, and you say, because you are a battered spouse, and by the way, I say battered spouse, but all the analysis, all the case law has been solely applied to specifically to women against their husbands. It has not been applied in another situation, although technically, I believe the legal standard could be, but pretty much all of these supplementary materials, all of the secondary sources, they all rely on the male versus female dynamic, which I want to talk to you about, because I think it's very interesting, especially having a female on the chat and getting your perspective, not just my bigoted misogynist point of view. The analysis here, and this is actually an analysis of Wayland by the Florida bar. This was put out by our bar officials, right? They endorsed this. They said it's really meant to benefit abused women who live in fear of their lives and who ultimately kill their abuser, right? So it's meant to that syndrome, battered spouse syndrome, and the defense that's related to that, the battered spouse defense, is meant to benefit those people who go out and proactively kill their employers. So, kill their abuser. Now saying, okay, there's been a cycle of abuse, right? And I'm going to describe how they paint the cycle of abuse. And at some point, because of that cycle of abuse, they do not have a duty to retreat. They don't have to leave. They are permitted, it is granted, it is legal for them to kill their spouse, in this case, and in as applied, always their husband. So it's usually the wife to kill their husband, because they have this special benefit that belongs to battered spouse. And the thought here is that there's a cycle of physical abuse within the relationship, and there's 3 phases in the cycle. Phase 1 is minor battering, including verbal abuse. So verbal abuse would be sufficient, and attempts by the woman to placate the man. Phase 2 is the actual battering incident where the woman is beaten. Phase 3 is the loving behavior on the part of the male, which reinforces hope for the man's reform. And then the cycle continues again. The cumulative effect is the woman is perpetually in fear of the man and feels helpless. So killing, this is the last statement. Killing her abuser becomes her only escape from the relationship. So that's the judgment of the defense. Really, the key of the defense is that the only solution is to kill. This is the thing that for me, when I see this rationale on, this is my problem, is that it's hard for me to accept that killing someone, and gender aside, right? That killing someone is something we want to be endorsing from a standpoint of, you can do this at any time because this is ongoing. You can just kill somebody. Because they bring up the instances that they have applied this doctrine. And one of the things that was kind of surprising to me was, out of 100 abused women who had killed their assailants, once again, they're self-reported, right? 75 used a gun. Knives were used 13 times. 5 women used a car. 1 used a sledgehammer. 1 poison. 1 fire. And the final 4 hired killers. So paid assassins.
I actually feel like the poison one is usually more common than that.
I would too, right? I feel like poison would be common. Maybe they just don't get caught, right? But
yeah.
I mean,
yep. Like antifreeze.
Yeah, antifreeze. Yep, there you go. Mm-hmm. Yeah. To me, it does legalize premeditated murder, because if you're hiring a killer, the amount of right, it's definitely like, to me, that's like, wait a second. You're telling me that they've allowed this doctrine to be applied in instances where they've hired killers. If you have the ability to hire a killer, I don't believe you do not have the ability to remove yourself from that situation.
Right. Or the financial,
means, right?
Yeah.
So
pretty sure those cost like a pretty penny. Not that I would know.
How many exes bodies do we have to find, Alana? How many?
My lips are sealed.
gonna have to pay your sister. It's like, how much for the stories?
She'll never tell. I was under the impression that the threat had to be imminent. Like, is that not correct?
That's not a factor of, well, there obviously is some case by case analysis here, but it's not a necessary factor.
Okay.
Does that make sense? So
yes.
It's not something that has to be there, but certainly when you're talking about it, I guess the imminence of threat would come up as a fact, but It's not necessary for the defense. You can assert the defense even if in that instance where you killed them, it was not imminent. It's just the defense is solely based on your reasonable, it has to be reasonable, right? But your reasonable fear for your life in general. Generalized fear for your life, not specific to that actual incident.
That sort of reminds me of the Rittenhouse trial, because that was like their standard there was like, was it reasonable for him to be in fear for his life?
Yeah, I guess the thing was
and that was self-defense.
Yeah. Well, in the Rittenhouse case, it's for that self-defense, they had this prove that specifically when he was in Kenosha, right, and the folks were after him, that he was, because of those other folks, he had a fear for his life that was imminent. That's the difference with self-defense. Is like, it's an imminent thing, right? Like,
hey, Dad, turn that off.
You real quick. Yeah, I think you're chopping a little bit.
Yeah, sorry, that was the microwave. When it goes off, it does that.
Oh no, you're all good. You're
really
all good.
Weird.
I think it got choppy a little bit. It's fine though.
No, it's somebody's using the microwave in my home, and it like for some reason fucks with the internet.
That's so crazy. Like,
I know, it's really weird. We just got a new one, and I think I don't know, super powerful microwave.
Or it's Wi-Fi.
Anyway,
messing with the Wi-Fi, but it's like a smart. Yeah. It's a smart microwave.
It is
people love it. They're like, hey, Dad. It's good. They love it. So
exactly.
Let me back up here. So with Rittenhouse, right, what they were trying to prove is imminent self-defense, and that's for every self-defense case, right? The threat has to be imminent. You have to feel because of something they're doing, you are threatened and you responded. In Kenosha, Kyle Rittenhouse, in the incidences where he was attacked, the first one, the guy had, I believe, a chain, right? And he was approaching him. He was running up on him with
I can't even remember anymore, but yeah, it was something.
Some sort of weapon. It was not a gun, but it was something else. And he was running at him fast with the intent to disarm him. So that was proved. And even if you're unarmed and you're rushing at somebody and at a close range, that can be a fear for your life, fear that you're going to be disarmed, because then they'd obviously take your weapon and then they have a weapon, right? So that was an imminent threat. The second guy, Gage Grosskreutz, had a gun and it actually had it pointed at his head. And Kyle,
the other guy had a skateboard, right?
And the other guy had a skateboard and jumped on, and there was another guy who jumped on him, right? So he was being repeatedly attacked. So that was the imminent threat. But the difference
there was still the reasonableness standard of like, was it still reasonable for him? That's what I was referring to. Yeah.
Yes, the reasonableness. So given those threats, was it reasonable for him to do that? And the jury found it was in every single case. In this case, or in the case of abuse, battered spouse, what they're going to have to analyze, let's just use the Sarah Boone facts. She is going to say, I locked him in this suitcase because I feared he was going to kill me.
But she didn't say that.
I mean, well, she did. Did you see the video? Did you see the suitcase video where she was like kind of drunk and kind of, he was saying,
I saw
Sarah,
those
let me
videos.
out.
But she said the day was great. It was a great day. They were having fun. They were laughing. Like, I don't know.
She has a lot of different stories that conflict. And when she was drunk in that video that they pulled off her phone, when she was like, that's what you get for cheating on me. That's what you get for choking me. I think she's going to try to take that statement about choking and say that he was choking her, so she shoved him in the bag.
See, I don't understand how he got in the suitcase. Like, that's where I get stuck. And also, who plays hide and seek as an adult with one person? Somebody explain that to me.
I mean, I don't know how many drugs you've done, Alana, but let me tell you, I'm
not going to say on here.
I'll say it. I mean, special limitations is fun, and I'm in Korea, baby. And by the way, drug-free Korea. You know, you don't mess with anything over here. It's all extremely illegal. But back in the day, when I was very young in Miami, the streets that were made famous by the cocaine cowboys, I did a lot of things, right? You know, and I have never been that high on anything that I would say, yeah, it's time for me to be in the suitcase. First of all, I'm 6'6", but that aside.
6'6". I did not know that. Yeah, you're not fitting in that suitcase.
I'm not fitting in the fucking suitcase unless you're shabusinessing me and chopping me up. I don't know if you've heard about that case, about the shabusiness case.
I mean, I've heard about other cases like that. I don't know which one you're talking about though.
Taylor Shabusiness. She there's some S&M stuff with her boyfriend. She was playing the dom and I guess killed him. And ended up chopping him up and making love to the corpse and all this stuff.
I don't think that's S&M.
She's going to trial very soon. I think February.
Oh, okay. That's a good one to pay attention to.
It's a very good one. But I mean, to me, there's no way you get in a suitcase unless somebody helps you in the suitcase. There's no way that would happen.
But why did he do it anyway? How did she? I mean, like, I'm thinking, like, first I'm like, okay, maybe she knocked him out and then got him in the suitcase. But like, do you know how hard it is to pick up dead weight? Like, there's no way. Even if he was knocked out.
Like, there's no way for
to like pick him up and like get him into the suitcase. I don't think.
I think he had to go in there. I do think he had to get in there, or be forced in there somehow.
Yeah.
I just don't.
There's no other. It doesn't make sense otherwise.
Yeah. So what was I gonna say? So yeah, in terms of that as a question, I definitely have a big question about that. Also, because we've got the police interrogation videos, we've got the 911 call, we've got the statements from his brother, who, by the way, his brother, very credible witness, said in police interview that both of them were beating each other. And she would abuse him, he would abuse her. And to me, I believe that actually is credible, right? like
I believe
drunk
that too.
drunk people get in a fight, and it seems like he had substance issues, which probably was why he was putting up with that, was because he was unemployed and had substance abuse issues.
Yeah. I
And
didn't know
if
about
it
the brother. This
the
is news to
brother
me.
okay, so the brother made a statement to police that his brother had a drinking problem and had been trying to get over it. But the brother said, I know my brother, and I know when he's drunk, and I know when he's not drunk. And they said, like, he said, when I last called him, which was like, I believe either the night before, or that night, he was not drunk. So the brother was not drunk. So the boyfriend who ended up dying, George, he was not drunk that night. So that night he was not drunk because he knew how his brother sounded when he was drunk, and he knew his brother sounded kind of edgy, giddy, made slurs and stuff, slurs in his voice. He said he wasn't that at all. But he heard her. He heard Sarah, and Sarah sounded drunk, and Sarah sounded angry. So
I mean, she certainly sounded drunk and angry on those videos she took.
Yeah. So that's something that they brought up as a fact. And once again, these things are going to run counter, to her story. If she says that, hey, I was abused, so I forced him to get in the bag as self-defense. Her 911 call, she repeatedly says hide and seek. She says it like 30 times.
I can't. I don't the hide and seek thing is, it just makes me laugh. I mean, it's not funny that this man died, but it's absurd. You're playing hide and seek as a grown-ass adult with one other person. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting here. So to get to the defense here, I want to know what you think about this, because I want to relate this back to Amber Heard as well. Like, and let's pretend this might have been applied in the Amber Heard case, but let me read this part. Many women who kill their abusers are convicted of murder because of an inherent flaw in the law of self-defense that stems from the law being written and enforced by men. A feminist perspective on the law of self-defense should gain wider support. By the way, guys, this is put out by the Florida Bar. This is not put out by an advocacy organization. This is not put out by, and this is endorsed and put out by the Florida Bar Association. A feminist perspective on the law of self-defense should gain wider support and would address this fundamental inequity. Because men wrote the law of self-defense, the law has the tendency to disadvantage women. Goes on to say, a woman who's being beaten by her husband, who's using fists and kicks, cannot respond with equal force. She lacks the strength that is necessary to counterbalance and harm the man. So she grabs the next best thing, a gun, and shoots him. She must, respond to his abuse with the next best thing, a greater force. So giving them that benefit of the greater force. So to me, I just think back to Amber Heard, right? Like, what if Amber had shot Johnny?
Right. She would have gotten away with it. Probably. I don't know what the California laws are, but
yeah, I think she 100% would have. I think she would have gotten away with it, because I think that she would have asserted that story, and she technically met the elements of that story. Technically, right?
Technically, I mean, without any proof of it, though. That's the thing. Because, like, doesn't it also, like, you have to kind of talk about, like, how severe the injuries were, how severe was the abuse, like, how long was it going on? I don't know, like you said, the physical imbalance. I mean, between Johnny and her, was there really that much?
But remember, the physical imbalance, according to the position of the Florida Bar, which I think mirrors the case law in Florida, and they just say, if you are a woman, de facto, you are weaker than a man, which, by the way, I don't even necessarily like argue that as a generalism, although I would argue that some, if a girl's like an MMA fighter, and the guy is very small, then clearly there's going to be a disparity, right?
Yeah.
And I don't know how big George was, but, let's assume that he's not a good guy. Not a jacked guy. Right. I'm waking. I got my
He
coffee
looked
right
kind of
here.
skinny when I saw pictures. He looked smaller, but I don't know.
He looked small.
Yeah.
And I think that even unless you're in that position, and that is as a generalism, right? I think that making that presumption opens it up right? So, okay, you're a woman, you automatically don't have as much force to apply unarmed. Therefore, you are justified to go to greater force. So, Amber grabbing whatever she wanted, whether that's a gun or a bottle, she would be justified. Killing him, she'd killed him with a bottle. She would have been justified. Under
the
this
way that is written from the Florida bar, like I don't agree with their reasoning behind that. Right. Especially because it's only in regards to women. I mean,
right.
That's why I don't agree with it. Men can be abused too. It has nothing to do with like necessarily your physical stature. Like I know that it became a law or like became a defense because women were not being listened to, but
yes.
You know, I think that's got to be rewritten.
I mean, and here's the thing, I want to make this clear. I have sympathy for people that are in truly abused situations, and there do need to be solutions for that.
You don't got to tell
me
that.
No, I'm not telling you that. I'm just saying, like, I do think there need to be solutions, but I think the solutions exist through existing law, right? Through laws that we have on the books already that you can just enforce.
Yeah.
And we can just do it that way, right? Like, that's DV. Right. Yeah. If you're abusing, if a husband is abusing a wife, that's DV. If you're guilty of DV, you should be arrested. Like, that's just straight up. Right. By the way, that applies to women and men.
Yeah.
By the way, that applies to both. Right? It applies to both genders. It applies to all genders. But I
when
just don't
is that
see
from? When was that written?
This article.
That thing from the
from the bar. Let me pull it up again. I had to go on a VPN because it wouldn't. This was.
Oh no, it's all right. Don't worry about it.
This was written in 2000. Oh no, I downloaded it. This was written in 2000. So, I mean,
because they did change it to battered. I mean, I'm assuming it used to be the battered women defense or women's defense, but now it's spouse.
Spouse, yes. Spouse.
Yeah. So that's a good change.
Yeah, it's definitely a change. But I mean, despite that, they're not going to presume. For example, if the basis of this theory is that women have less force and need to use greater force, and it's man on man in a gay relationship, let's say, or let's say it's woman on man, or woman on woman, right? Because equal force then, right? So woman on woman, man on man, or if the woman is abusing the man, he does not have the ability to defend himself with lethal force because he's presumed because of his gender to have greater ability to inflict force.
Which is, even if he is bigger, is not necessarily true.
No. And
I've seen some scrappy little women, you know?
Well, I've also seen some ballsy women, like some women that will fight dudes. And apparently Sarah Boone was one of those women where she was willing to go fight with the neighbors and, you know, pick fights with people. She would not hold back. Apparently. Okay. Let's see what we got here. Solon says they were LARPing D&D. George played a mimic. You fucking nerd, Solon. You know the D&D is dead now. They changed the gaming, the open gaming license. Come on, Solon. Come on. Get your nerding right. Gemma, what's up, Gemma? She said George said he couldn't breathe many times. Sarah refused to let him out. Story should end there. She intentionally killed him. And so what do you think about this, how it's going to turn out? Do you think they're going to get a conviction, Alana?
Yes, I do. But I am confused about things like, why did she videotape this? And then if she, like, I think that'll be brought up. Like, why would you videotape something and then call the police in the morning? You know, like, you don't think that they're going to go through her phone? She's the last person to see him and he's in a suitcase and he's dead. I mean, I think she's going to get convicted. Yes.
Here's my
Florida, can you put the lesser charges too, or no?
Yes, lesser included are there. Yes.
Okay.
They fucked up explaining that in Casey Anthony, but because I did have the lesser included, but they did not explain that, and that screwed them. I think this one they need to do that, but I think it's better that they charge them with second degree because the intent is out. So I think that's going to get past the mental barrier that she intended to do this. Because here's a theory of the case I'll believe. This is as a jury, and I'm speaking as a jury. I will believe the story that she was drunk, like maybe even blacked out, right? She was, conscious, or browned out, right? We've all had those nights, who's not guilty of that? I've definitely done that, right? And I've done some dumb shit, I'm not going to lie, but listen, flavored vodka really ended up in nights where I blacked out and had a horrible hangover when I was in like undergrad, right? But And Captain Morgan. Captain Morgan definitely did me in. But that being said, so let's say she's drunk. She records the video drunk. And because she's drunk, she's extra mean-spirited. She's a mean drunk, right? And she did do it when she's drunk. She wakes up the next day sober and doesn't remember anything. I actually will believe that theory.
I do too. I actually totally believe that, but don't understand why she was so adamant that she was not fucked up. Like she kept saying that over and over, and I don't know why. Because she wanted to make him seem worse. Seem like he had the problem.
See, I was going to say,
which it sounds like he did.
I think they both had the problem.
But they both did. Yeah.
Yeah. I think they both had a drinking problem. I think they both could get physical when they're drunk. I think they both could do it, which is why they were kind of, I don't know if that counts as codependent or like, it's almost like symbiotic, right? They're like,
yeah,
they have the same vice. So they kind of
off of each other, like feed off of each other.
Yeah. And this negative feedback loop that ends up violent. I feel like that was the case. Also, I feel like he was being kind of, I don't want to say sugar babied, but I feel like since he was unemployed and he was allowed to stay there, he was kind of, living off her, which was a good thing for him. So he couldn't go anywhere. He couldn't retreat. Yeah, that's the thing. I don't think they shared the costs. I think that it was her apartment. He was just living there.
When did he lose his job? Was it like I thought it wasn't too long before this happened, but I might be wrong.
I don't think it was too long before that, but the point is at that moment, because one of the material facts is she says she thought that George was downstairs looking for a job because he was unemployed. So at that moment, George was probably the one who felt like he couldn't go anywhere and he couldn't escape.
Yeah. Especially, didn't she say his family wouldn't let him come back after the last time, something like that? Like he had to stay with her.
Yeah. So I think that's where that one goes. We'll see. We got the trial in April. I'll definitely be following this. I would love to, and what I want to try to do during the trials, Alana, is I'm going to try to have, like, when I'm streaming sometimes, have 1 or 2 people max on. I would love for you to pop in when we're doing the trial and just watch for a little bit, maybe give your thoughts on that. I think that'd be super fun.
You think it'll be live streamed?
It 100% will be. It's Florida.
I wasn't sure.
It's Florida.
Oh, okay.
So Florida.
I don't know much about Florida.
well, as a Florida lawyer,
a lot of crazy people come from.
Hey now! I do declare that is highly offensive to my sensibilities. No, but listen, Florida has some of the strongest sunshine laws, which are transparency laws. So we require a lot to be disclosed. The whole Florida man shit is because we release all of our criminal records. It's public information. It's considered public. So the newspapers have standing requests ongoing every single day for all the criminal records from the local jails. So all those stories get put out immediately. They don't have to ask for them. They just send them as a matter of course.
That's actually pretty great.
It is crazy.
I said it's great. I think it's great.
Oh, no. It's great. Actually, I think every state should do that.
Yeah, I agree.
Just be transparent about it. I don't think transparency is bad. I think transparency is great. It's fantastic, especially with government, because we're paying for it, right? So we should know.
Yep.
I'm getting knocked. People saying that was a Georgia accent. And people, Florida, Korea, same thing. Yeah, same thing. Same accent in Florida and Korea.
Korea.
But that being said, like in Orlando or Miami, all the jurisdictions, everything's released and everything can be streamed. And this one is so big, it definitely will be streamed. They have to come up with a damn good reason not to stream it. But I mean, look, we saw the trial of Nick Cruz, of Casey Anthony, like all these trials have been streamed in Florida. I doubt they've got a better reason than, like, for example, Nick Cruz, the Parkland shooter, to like not stream that stream.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it's about a murder. Yeah, it's about something sensational, but it's not going to beat that.
No, I agree. Did they have the rule that that it might not be streamed? There's like sexual assault involved.
Minors is the way. If it's a crime involving a minor, then you might get that, and that you might get this. So let's say it's essay of a minor. Like, yeah, that might not be streamed. But the thing is, the presumption
that's fair.
But the presumption is on the side of disclosure. So they would try to say, okay, is there any way we can edit this so that it protects the people involved? If they could do that, I think they would actually have to allow it. But in most of those cases, they might just say, hey, listen, we're going to try to respect it. I think the news media, even the news media would probably say, hey, we respect this, and we're going to piss off here. But presumptively they should be able to get those in there. So we'll see that. It's in front of Judge Wayne Wooten. I think, tell me if you agree with me on this one. Actually, no, let me not bias you. Who does this judge look like to you? If he had to have a celebrity look like, what would be his celebrity look alike? Let me zoom in here. That scroll it over. Oh, this guy right here. Hold on, let me open this image.
Like celebrity or like
celebrity look-alike? Like if he was like a famous person look-alike.
I have no idea. I'm not getting anybody from my initial look.
Maybe you're not as much of not as much of a nerd. I think he looks like Mr. Bean.
Oh, you're right. It does. Is it bad that I was going to say Ben Rottenborn?
I mean, you can sort of see it, you can sort of see
Yes, I see it.
Yeah.
The angle too. Yeah.
Patton Oswalt's kind of chubby, right? He's got that like little chubby Ewok look,
Yeah.
He's definitely got that other look. And Durna says his first Sona was luggage. That is so wrong. That is so wrong on so many levels. This is so many levels. I'm sorry to subject you to this, Lana. All right.
Oh, please.
Now let's move on to Kohberger. So have you been following this case as closely as everybody else? I mean, I feel like this is the one that the people told me about when it first dropped. People have been asking me for updates on this. This one is the one that people are really engaged on right now.
I've definitely been paying close attention.
So what have you heard? Where have you, what have you heard about the case in general? I just want to get your thoughts on it, what you've heard, kind of where you're at from your perspective as a non-law nerd who's been tracking this.
I think that I've watched like everything that, I mean, they did a 2020 on it. They did a Dateline on it. They did a 48 hours on it. I watched all of those, but I mean, from the beginning, trying to figure out who it was, I've been paying attention. I mean, I've been following through with everything.
Yeah. So
I don't even know where to begin, to be honest with you.
No, it's hard. It's hard. And we've gone through like the charging documents, the extradition. Were you aware there was a gag order placed on the law enforcement, the attorneys in defense? So this is something that's been brought up, and I want to bring this up, I think, first, is gag orders are supposed to benefit, I mean, both sides, right? But they apply equally to both sides. But I think the violation of a gag order really hurts the defense the most, because if they're out there putting out statements like, we think this guy is guilty, here's evidence of this guy's guilt, we're going to get him because of X, Y, and Z, that can really have them making their case in public before they've had a chance to make the case in court, before the defense has a chance to say, hey, okay, but how about this? And I will say, at this point, if you ask me, is Bryan Kohberger, does the evidence seem that we've seen so far, in your personal opinion, not legal opinion, whether the guy is guilty or not? So yeah, my opinion is it's not looking good for Bryan Kohberger right now. But as a lawyer,
I agree.
Everybody's entitled to due process. Everybody's entitled to a fair defense, and he is entitled to be tried in a court of law, not the court of public opinion. And it hurts people when they really want to convict and when they really don't like the people, and they have some sort of sense about them. But even Bryan Kohberger, even if he's guilty, deserves a fair defense because that's what our courts are built on. Now, the prosecution,
got a good lawyer.
He does have a good lawyer now, but right here there was a violation of the gag order. This was put out by CNN on Friday, the 6th, and right here, this shows that it was a violation of the gag order. So there was a source that spoke with CNN. Right? A law enforcement source So just saying that they're law enforcement was specifically prohibited by the order, by the gag order, from speaking. So that source specifically was prohibited from speaking, and they said they were only speaking on a condition of anonymity because they know they would be punished, fired, etc. They were briefed on observations made by investigators during 4 days of surveillance leading up to Kohberger's arrest in Pennsylvania. So this is a Pennsylvania cop who got leaky, right? Who ended up leaking.
I mean, that makes sense though, because the Moscow police were so good with keeping their mouth shut. Honestly, that was pretty impressive. Like, but we didn't know what was going on until they knew who it was.
Right. They did not know what was going on at all. So to me, I think this is very, very, I think it's very hurtful. And I think we're going to see a lot more of this, because unless they clamp down on this, unless they punish people like that, unless the court goes out and says, you know what, we're going to clamp down on this, I think we're going to see more of it. Also, the fact that this person was in Pennsylvania, I think they feel more distant from Idaho. So they're like, oh, I'm a Pennsylvania cop. The Idaho judge is going to have to petition Pennsylvania and petition them to sanction me. So because of that, I feel more removed from the jurisdiction of Idaho.
And he's anonymous, or she.
Yeah.
How are they going to find out who it is?
They're not. And CNN's not going to do that because they want to keep the faucet rolling. They want people to continue to speak out on this case. So that's one thing I wanted to just put out there as an update. I just don't think it's right. And frankly, when they're talking about stuff, because this person went out here and was talking about the evidence, right? And is talking about what evidence they had and what evidence they were looking for. This is what they were leaking. Saying, hey, we were looking at DNA. And the DNA recovered from the Kohberger's family home revealed the DNA profile obtained from the trash was linked to the tan leather knife sheath laying on the bed. The phone records, authorities found the suspect's phone was near the Idaho home at least a dozen times. We do know that from the affidavit, but once again, this is stuff that they're leaking, they're letting out. And then the white sedan, the white Honda Elantra, was near the victim's home around the time of the killings. And the officers reported that, registered, and the same car was found there. So once again, I just don't think they should be, talking about it. I think there's a lot though. There is a lot with those different categories of evidence. Let me ask this. Max Mira says, Alana, change Wi-Fi 2.4 to 5 gigahertz for microwave problem.
Thank you, Max Mira.
He is my good friend in Japan. Max, text me if you're down to stream tonight for a late night stream, because I have a thumbnail up ready for you. But he's my good friend in Japan. He's very autistic, and I love him. Because he's Max. He's got so many good facts immediatally. But appreciate you, Max.
Thank you. I need to know that, because it's been fucking up my TV. It fucks up when I'm here.
Yeah. It's probably something like that. I trust his research.
I'm about to write this down. 2.
Yeah. Here, let me. Here you go. I'll pull it up for you.
There we go. Okay. Cool. Thank you.
Yeah. Anytime. And we did have one comment on Rumble. Let me get this one here. This was from Sarah Boone. I didn't catch it in time. So Britt says, I do not think she was drunk. I'm thinking more high as fuck. Did I miss a talk screen? I think we haven't seen the talk screen yet. So I do think they pulled one. I will say, I think they pulled one. If she was high, well, it depends on what, right? So meth,
I don't think she was high on weed.
Not weed, but if she was high on meth, that clears out of your system pretty quick. So they would need to tox her pretty fast for that one. If it was anything else, next day, yeah. I mean, you'd have to be like the morning that she calls. They tox her right then. If then they could probably get her. But I don't think it was pot.
There's no way.
Like you don't.
There's no way.
You don't act like that. Yeah. Not that you would know, right, Alana? You would, can neither confirm nor deny personal
not.
knowledge of this.
That I might know about, but I don't know.
I don't know the status in New York. Has New York actually?
It's legalized. It's recreationally legal. Yeah.
Oh, really?
They started
Okay.
opening dispensaries recently. It's been
Oh,
taking
cool.
forever. It's been legal recreationally for 2 years, but they just opened the first dispensary in the city.
Well, that makes sense because they're always New York and regulation, take forever, and
there's a lot of reasons for it.
Yeah,
we can talk about that another time.
the street is the top competitor there too. So this is a $1 one over here from Locals, which says, "Who wrote this garbage doc? Why are we even listening to these bigots who think men and women are physically different? Did they have gender science in 2000?" This is from Nicole. So this is from one of my female viewers. Honestly,
I agree with that.
Yeah, I know. Go ahead.
I agree with that. I mean, that's why I asked you when it was from, like what year it was from. It was from 23 years ago. I mean, 2000 does not feel like that long ago, but it was. And
I mean, I'll tell you how old I was then. I was 14 years old. So I'm 86. So I was 14 years old.
I was like 10.
Yeah. So I mean, we're around the same. So like, yeah, the concept of gender there was none of this like bullshit, like gender is your feelings. Like it was like you're a man or a woman. Now if you're like, when I was in high school, whatever, growing up, I didn't care if people were gay or not. I didn't give a shit. Like I didn't care whatever people did in their bedroom was their own business. But there wasn't this fluid concept of gender. Gender was very one or the other.
I hear you.
So I think that the funny thing is that this doesn't even line up with the current wave of, I guess they call it feminism, but okay, gender studies, right?
Call it radical feminism.
Right, radical feminism, right? Because original feminists wouldn't agree with that, right? Like the J.K. Rowlings, right? They do not agree with that, right?
No, gender equality is all what real feminism is about.
Right, and which is something that we can get behind because equality is a much different thing. Equality is saying, hey, you should have the same opportunity. Sure, yeah,
exactly.
If you can fulfill the same requirements of the job, I am 100% in support of you having that job. In fact, I was speaking to a friend who is very skilled in math, and they're like very, very talented. And they said, when they got offered this, grant opportunity because they were a woman and they happen to be really good at math, they're like, I just want to get it because I'm good, I don't want to get it because you're giving it to me because I'm a woman. I just want to get it because I'm better.
I get that. I definitely understand that. Yeah.
Just better, and it's like for those people that are better, like they feel that they're like, I don't want to be number one of this subclass. I want to be number one.
Right. Just in general. I just want to be the best.
Yeah. You want to be like
everybody.
Exactly. You want to be the Pokemon master. You want to be number one. It's if you're in a subclass, you don't feel the same because you always feel, okay, I won the second place medal,
Yeah, because like they had to give it to me because whatever, because I'm a minority or I'm oppressed or whatever it may be.
Sure. Yeah, but I've never had a problem with equality of opportunity. Equity is what I have a problem with. All right. Oh, and someone says in the Locals chat that it was a Pennsylvania military cop. I would not be surprised if that's the case. If it was a military cop. Not surprised at all. Or they're kind of like private police. All right. So let's move on to the next document we have here. And this is the search warrant. So I sent this over to you. And to be honest, the full search warrant, and I will post this document, guys, in the description afterwards. But the full search warrant is 49 pages. We're not going to go through 49 pages. We're gonna focus on like at least what they found. Right, which is a single page at the end. But I just want to say it is very interesting. We're seeing this. We're starting to see this stuff now. Did you have any thoughts about this, like in general, when you saw this document, Alana, and when you were kind of moving through this document?
I mean, I think it's pretty straightforward. I did have some. They were talking a lot about like the DNA and like kind of saying like even if this doesn't hold up, like don't throw out the rest of the case. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
Like don't throw out the rest of the evidence, which like I was like, does that mean that their DNA evidence isn't that strong? But I'm assuming things like, but that's kind of like what I felt when I read it, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, I do think that they're actually trying to hedge, right? Because DNA evidence can always be rebunked by, or sorry, rebunked, debunked. Once again, just waking up here. It can be debunked by counter expert, right? Because it's going to be a battle of the experts. Maybe the defense pulls an expert that says this is not reliable, right? This needs to be thrown out. This was gotten on a second pass. This was something that was actually in the affidavit. This was not found in the first pass, found the second pass, especially the footprint. That's something that could be thrown out.
I mean, a judge could throw out the entire search warrant and say, this isn't, like, I actually don't think that they had probable cause for this. And then everything's gone.
Yeah, then all of this stuff would be fruit of the poisonous tree.
Exactly.
So yeah, they were given the given the ability to go and search his residence in Washington. So mind you, they've gone through the Pennsylvania home, they rooted through the trash there, but now they're going to the Pennsylvania home, looking for very specific things. And when they went through, they were looking for evidence, anything that's connected to the murder. There's a long list.
Yes, there is.
And I'll just go through what they were looking for here. So very quickly, blood, bodily fluid. Yes, they can get all sorts of bodily fluid, people. Human tissue, skin cells, blood, or skin cells on other items, knives, sheaths, swords, dirks, daggers, sales receipt. I thought, like, I'm
daggers.
Yeah. I'm imagining them coming out of here with some, like, Assassin's Creed, some, like, or samurai sword or something like that. They've got some, like, crazy ass shit that they're pulling out of his place. That was kind of interesting to me. Any images, whether digital or on paper, which show Ethan, Kaylee, Zana, Madison, Bethany, or Dylan, that's BF or DM, or the house at 1122 King Road. Clothing, including but not limited to dark shirt, dark pants, mask, and shoes with a diamond pattern sole. By the way,
that's the Vans, right?
Yeah. I mean, do you own a pair of Vans?
I do not.
Okay. I need to go look at my shoes and see how many have a diamond pattern sole. I bet at least one of them does.
Probably. Sneakers for sure.
Right? Like, I'm sure that's not exclusive to Vans. Maybe it is. Maybe it is. Maybe it isn't. But
they do have a very distinct, all of their shoes have the same sole.
Oh, Vans specifically?
I'm sure they're for Vans. I mean, I'm sure there are other companies that may have a similar one too, but they definitely do.
Got it. Oh, by the way, somebody DM'd me. Thank you, Lucia, for DMing me. That George. Thank you, Lucia. Yeah, Lucia on Twitter. Thank you. Thank you for DMing me that George was 5'4". So
5'4". He was
5'4". Okay. What's shorter than you? How short are you?
You're over a foot taller than him.
Okay, yeah, I'm a foot taller than him. No,
not
wait, how tall are you?
I'm like 5'6.5".
So technically, right? If you're taller than him. Yeah, if you were going on height and you're saying that taller people are stronger, right? Which is not true, by the way.
I'm like, fight me.
Yeah, like you versus George. I
think I might win.
You are from New York. I mean, that does give you a distinct advantage. Yeah. So, and by the way, yes, as Chandler says here, she was unsealed per court order. Yes, this was unsealed per court order. So they actually are going kind of procedurally through the documents and unsealing them. I think they're being extra careful in this case.
This is unsealed, but it's also redacted parts of it, isn't it?
Yes, partially redacted, right? So obviously you don't see right here where it says BF and DM. That's redacted.
Yeah, it's to protect the remaining surviving victims.
Data compilations. So his mixtapes showing interest, plan, or murder, violent assault, stabbing, cutting of people. Electronic and digital devices. So they're taking everything that's electronic from your place. Emails, messaging accounts, other stuff that's associated on those digital devices. So they're getting into your WhatsApp, they're getting into your Signal, they're getting into your Telegram. Photos, images, videos, documents. that are on electronic devices, GPS locations, anything with GPS data, which by the way is probably includes Alana's microwave, because that thing is probably tracking her location right now.
It might be.
And any other evidence that relates to the or has evidentiary value. Look at this: evidence of the identity of the person that is in possession of the device on or about the times, any times that that the items of evidentiary value were accessed or otherwise manipulated. So honestly, they're going to take pretty much anything from this.
One thing that I found interesting in here was that they were talking about like different accounts that he may have used, and like that was interesting only because of like the stuff that we've heard about this, like what was it, Papa Rogers account?
Yes, he's got some allegedly Reddit accounts. Allegedly.
Well, the Reddit one, I thought they confirmed that though, right? Or maybe I thought that one was confirmed. The one where he like has the research question.
The research one, yes, but there's another one that they were alleging. I think it was like something watching inside watching, inside looking.
Yeah.
Inside looking.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. That one is unconfirmed.
Okay. That one I felt a little less like solid about. I don't know.
I feel like that one is Redditism, you know, where they just go off and they like get so focused on it that they think anybody who's asking questions about this, it could be another person who's just really into crime shit. And
if
really,
I put out everything I thought, maybe people would think it's me, you know.
Well, that's the thing, right?
What about everybody? Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, if it's everybody who's obsessed with crime, it's like, okay, all the wine moms are getting locked up real quick. I'm sorry, like it's done.
A lot of women, we're all so obsessed with true crime. I don't know why that is.
True crime, astrology, MBTI.
About that today.
It's the trio, right? If you got like true crime, you got some wine, and you know astrology, you're done. It's done. It's a wrap.
Oh, got some astrology books back here, actually.
Do you? What's your
they're
sign?
Not. They're like. I'm a Libra.
Oh no. Okay, I'm out. Sign? All right. Peace, guys.
What's
Peace,
your
guys.
Sign?
Guess.
Come on the scales of justice over here.
Guess.
Capricorn.
What?
Gemini.
No.
Either
fire
Capricorn
sign.
or Gemini.
Fire sign.
Leo.
Yep, you got it. Yeah. See,
okay,
people are like.
Makes sense.
See, this is how you do it. This is how you do it. You let it be typecasted. You know, they've got everything out there. Yeah. But anyways,
the other thing with the account thing, I guess I was thinking they could try to like, because I know the parents said, one of the sets of parents said, I think it was Kaylee's parents said that they are pretty sure he was following them on Instagram.
Really? Kaylee's parents said that.
It was either the 2020 or the Dateline.
Interesting. I didn't see that. But that would be interesting if they were actually following on Instagram. I mean, I will say though, let's say they had actually, let me ask you this. What's your theory of the case then on how he got interested in those girls specifically, that house specifically? What's your personal theory? What do you believe is something credible? Or just generally credible?
The only thing, I mean, it seems like Kaylee is his target here. I mean, I guess we obviously are probably never going to know. But I mean, I'm sure he probably ran into her at a restaurant or somewhere in Moscow, because from what I've looked in, or from what I've seen, Moscow has like much better restaurants, much better, like better things to do, more things to do. And like a lot of people from Pullman go there. So like, I'm sure, I can only imagine that he's ran into them. Specifically, probably Kaylee. I mean, and they were beautiful girls. So,
yeah, I think that it's very possible that he was obsessed with one of them, right? That he was kind of like he was really obsessed with one of them, and it's even possible like he went to one of their parties because like they were hold parties at the house.
I was thinking that, but don't you think that if you were like between the ages of like 18 and 21 that you'd be like, who's that old guy? Like, who is that old guy that didn't know anybody? Like, and somebody would have recognized him by now. They would have said, oh my God, that was that weird guy at the party that didn't know anybody.
That's true. That's true. That could be possible. He could have also been brought, like, okay, I will say this, like, when I was in my master's program, I lived in a house with undergrad chicks, and this was okay. Confession. That was like, I will never do that shit again. I would never,
That sounds awful, and I'm a woman, so
I will never live with, number one, a woman like that is not my partner, and number two, and there's huge risk to that, especially if we talk about, the stuff in Florida. But I would not live with an undergrad girl ever, because they were not responsible at all. And the funny thing was, there was a guy who was living there with me. He just worked. He wasn't even working. He was clean. I was clean. The girls were a mess. They leave pizza boxes out. Cockroaches would be coming. Their boyfriends were living there for free, rent free. Their boyfriends were there rent free. They didn't leave. They would, Alana, they would take off the back door to play beer pong and leave it off.
I didn't even do that in undergrad, and I was pretty reckless. Not that reckless though.
That's why I said I can see how these girls will like leave a door open, right? Like if somebody, when I was there, if somebody knew, hey, Andrew's house, they always have the back door off after parties because they use it for beer pong. And it was often enough that they would do that. So if he knew that, hey, the sliding glass door is the door everyone comes through for the parties, right? They just leave the sliding glass door open because, people come in, they crack a few beers, they hang out. And when I was there as a grad student, I was in my mid 20s, right? Or lower, 23, whatever. And the girls were like, 18, 19, 20, right? So you could see an age difference. Like a grad student could be there, especially if they would like invite grad students sometimes to their parties. And look, I'm not judging anybody. The girls are into older guys. The older guys have more money. They probably have a car. You know what's up. They've got stuff. The 19-year-old kid, he's taking the bus,
Fair. That's fair.
So it's possible. It's possible.
It's possible. I don't know. We don't like Bryan Kohberger. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't think any girls are inviting him.
But that's the point. I think if, let's say, let me give you a theory. Bryan Kohberger was friends with somebody who they were interested in and tagged along. And they're like, don't bring back your weird friend. And he gets salty. And
then he's mad. Okay. I could see that. Now, do you think that that's when his phone would have like connected with the Wi-Fi?
That could have been a case. It could be a theory of the case. If he was at a party there, is he connected to the Wi-Fi there?
Yeah, because otherwise there's no getting around that for me. Like, why was your phone close enough to their house to connect to Wi-Fi?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think there's got to be some defense theories there. There's got to be some defense theories there. And they're going to have to come up with. Yeah, they're going to have to come up with something.
Yeah, they're going. I mean, he obviously has something that he thinks he's going to go with from what he told his other lawyer, that he's going to exonerate himself. I don't know. I like worry that he has like a plan as to how to get out of this, which would be scary.
Yeah. Yeah, no, sorry. I'm just checking the other platforms here.
One thing that I found funny was yeah, you're good, was when he got pulled over. Well, I forget if it was the first or the second time in Indiana, and they're like, where are you going? And he's like, we're going to get Thai food. And I'm like, where are you getting Thai food in the middle of Indiana that you don't know where you are? I just found that to be a very interesting thing for him to say. And then his dad said that they were going back to Pennsylvania. He didn't want to tell the cops that.
Yeah. And he also was, I mean, the thing I noticed immediately was he was talking way too much to the cops.
Well, he wasn't talking that much. His dad was talking more. He's like, he said we're going to get Thai food. Tell me. I would have been like, well, I mean, the cops didn't know that he was a murderer, but like, where are you getting Thai food? You don't live here. Where do you know to get Thai food off of a highway in Indiana?
Ridiculous. Yeah, I mean, I guess
can't believe he. Go ahead.
I will say there's better Thai food in the United States than there is in Korea. Being a big aficionado of Thai food.
He's not from there.
Yeah. You have to, but I mean, I guess here's I'm defense counsel, right? You can look it up, right? We got phones, right? We got able to say you can put in Thai food and it'll find it, right? We have the technology, and I know you.
He was like, Dad, shut up! Don't tell them where we're going.
You big city New Yorkers, you think that outside of New York there's nothing, it's just flat, but we do have civilization.
I don't think that. Outside of New York, there's no good bagels though, or pizza. I gotta say that.
Actually, I will say there's a bagel place that just opened up near me, and it is fucking fantastic. It's
Okay.
absolutely amazing. I
All
actually
right.
go
I'll
there
take your word.
like twice a week. It's so good. And there, I mean, it might not be the same style. It's a little different, but it's perfect.
Korean bagels.
Um,
Okay.
well,
That's
it's
new.
supposed to be British bagels, like that's how they style it, but it's amazing. So in terms of the thing, I think his dad was trying to be nice, and I don't know
Oh
if
yeah.
that's a Pennsylvania thing or like a Midwest
No.
thing where people just try to be super friendly. It's kind of dumb though, because you're telling them way more than you need to tell them, and every single thing the cop is going, "Can I arrest you for that? Can I arrest you for that? Is this illegal? Can I
He got
arrest you
pulled
for
over
that?"
twice on his way home. I mean, within how long on the same road in Indiana? I mean, you've got to be. I don't know. I just think I'd be driving the speed limit if I just killed 4 people. But
Yeah. Say don't get fat and don't bring the British into this. That's my one rule, is that don't get fat. Yes, I try.
I was gonna say, well, you're 6'6". You're gonna be fine with bagels.
Yeah, I am. Well, the funny thing is I can gain like 20, 40 pounds, but the only person who sees it is me. But I see it and I'm like, I gotta fight the pudge. But you know what? So I get people saying that I have somebody from the UK saying bagels are good there too. Okay.
Okay.
Start
I've never had a bagel when I lived in London, like almost a year, but I never had a bagel there.
People saying I need a little weight. Yes, but in the right way. Like I if the weight can go to like the shoulders and chest in a non-man boob way, that's good.
Sorry.
If it's going to the gunt, that's not good.
That's my dog. Sorry.
Your dogs are all right. All right, so let me move over here to the things they actually got. So here's what they pulled from his. I got to put this on the side here because this is not going to work. And I'll zoom in. I'll read this off. This is seized from his residence and currently stored at the WSU Police Department. So they retrieved one nitrate type black glove. I'm not sure what a nitrate type is. One Walmart receipt with one Dickies tag, 2 Marshall's receipts, for a dust cover for a Bissell Power Force vacuum, 8 possible hair strands, 1 Fire TV stick with a cord and plug. They're going to go through his shows. They're going to see who's watching Cuties. 7, 1 possible animal hair strand. Yeah, I know it's weird. 1 possible hair, 1 possible hair, 1 possible hair, 1 possible hair strand, 1 computer tower. By the way, what's the difference between a hair and a hair strand?
Maybe the hair strand is like the part where you get the root, where you can get the DNA.
Maybe. 1 computer tower, 1 collection of dark red spot collected without testing, 2 cuttings from an uncased pillow of reddish brown stain, larger stain tested, and 2 top and bottom of mattress cover packaged separately, both labeled C, multiple stains, 1 tested. So, is there anything from this list? Yes, people say very smart, Elena. No, I do think you're right. It may have like the root or like the follicle.
Yeah, there's something about that that's different. I mean, we'll see.
Yeah, complete hair with the follicle. Yeah, I think that makes sense to me. So I'm wondering if this mattress cover is the mattress cover from the King Road house, right? The Moscow house, or if this is his mattress cover in Pella.
I think it's his. I actually had the same I had the same thought, but I'm pretty sure it's his because they took the entire mattress from the murder house.
Yeah, I was like trying to, how do I call it? Murder house, stab house. It's like, yes.
Basically.
Yeah.
But I saw they were like in the back of a pickup and you could like see the blood stains on them.
Yeah. Okay. And by the way, somebody sent me this, so thank you. Apparently, here, let's play this. It's 1 minute and 30 seconds. This is a person who's claiming here, and thank you for sending me guys the clips. And if you have anything, actually, let me make sure this is sharing the audio because this is the first I'm hearing of this. And guys, if you have any good information, make sure to send it over. Apparently, according to this source, suspect Bryan Kohberger was persistently DMing, repeatedly saying, I love how they have to boomer this, repeatedly sending direct messages. Yes, we get it. To one of the victims. This is interesting. So let's listen to what they have to say.
Biggest leaks in the Idaho case so far might finally lead us towards what the motive might have been in the killings. A law enforcement source tells People magazine that investigators now have digital evidence that suspect Bryan Kohberger was persistently DMing one of the 4 victims before the murders took place on November 13th. Now, the source does not identify which one of the 4 victims was receiving these DMs, but those who've been following the case very closely, people have already been pointing this out online. News Nation reported, you might remember, that Kaylee Gonzalez, her injuries were far more severe than those of Maddie, Xana, and Ethan's. Now, the source told People magazine Steve Heller, I'll read the quote here, he slid into one of the girls' DMs several times, but she...
By the way, translation for the boomers out there, sliding into the DMs. That is when you unsolicited, send a message or image, perhaps a spicy image, into somebody's DMs to try to garner their attention and potentially affection. It is typically used in a way of like, Andrew slid into Nick's DMs in order to get on his stream, right? You're trying to garner their affection, garner something from them. That's typically how you use that for the boomers out there. For the boomers. Got you, Gemma. Got you.
He didn't respond. Basically, it was just him saying, hey, how are you? But he did it again and again. The source also acknowledged that the recipient of these messages, again, one of the 4 victims, might not have seen those messages on social media. It's important to note, too, that this is a single law enforcement source. In the article, they make no mention of a second source to corroborate, and whoever leaked this information to People magazine, they risked their law enforcement career in the process, given the gag order that exists right now in Idaho with this case. Now, if true, these DMs, valuable evidence for prosecutors, but again, leaves major questions. Why did the suspect kill 3 more people in the house? And then also, 2, leave 2 roommates completely unharmed?
I think the biggest part there, like my theory is, let's pretend this is true, right? So there's a lot going on with this bit of information here. First of all, this could be complete bullshit, right? So it hasn't come out in court, hasn't been vetted, no one's testified to it. So could be complete bullshit, could be speculation. Who the fuck knows, right? So let's just start with that. Second, let's pretend it's true. If it is true, well, okay. And let's say it's Kayla, I believe it was Kayla.
Kaylee, yeah.
Kaylee, and she had worse wounds, right? So he was targeting her. She was in the bedroom with somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
So goes after her. Maddie's there, right? Xana and Ethan may have woken up and seen them. So he's got to kill them now too, right?
Right.
So that would make sense. I do not think there were nudes that were being sent. I do not think that was happening.
No, I don't think so either.
But I don't think so either. I think, and by the way, let me explain to the boomers out there, because I know there's boomers out there and I love you. When you send somebody a message on many different messaging platforms, you may not get through to them. So for example, on Twitter, for example, if you send a message on Twitter, you can go into a separate file for people that you have not added, right? So if there's people that you have not added that are messaging you, it goes into a separate folder. Same thing with Instagram. Instagram goes into a bucket where you do not see it unless you go out of your way to check it. And most people do not do that, especially girls, because they're getting a lot of unsolicited messages. Just throwing it out there. Alana, I know you've got the 5,000, people out there for the Thirsty Blonde podcast.
Maybe not 5,000, but a lot of weirdos out there,
There are weirdos. I mean, and by the way, I see these, and it's always hilarious. It's like random guy from India, like, I love you, baby, long time, come to Bangalore, and it's like completely unsolicited, right? And it's in this other messages
generally
folder.
is.
It generally is. It's in this other messages folder. You don't read it. So if somebody is just messaging you like that, it is very reasonable that you would never see it. But the person who's sending it may think you do, may perceive you do, may say, oh, they're ignoring me, even though they don't know that you've never checked that folder at all, that you don't know it at all. Of course, by the way, I would ignore it too. If someone was DMing me like that, I would fucking ignore it as well.
Best way to go.
What do you think about this theory, Alana? I want to get your thoughts on this DM theory.
There were pictures of screenshots from the DM. It didn't have the person. It didn't have like the the top of the message where it says like who it's sending to or who's sending it. But they were just like, let me see if I can find it.
Yeah, if you can find it, that'd be awesome.
Shit, I'm like, yeah, it was just like, I mean, it was just like a guy being like, or I mean, I guess I don't know who it was. You know what I mean? Like it could have been anybody. It's probably not real. If I'm being honest, I don't know if I think it's real.
You don't know if it's real?
No, I have no idea if it's real. I mean, it's reported by like People Magazine. I forget what the other one was that I saw.
Yeah. By the way, my locals, it says $100 bet that he went unsolicited dick pic after she waited on him at the vegan restaurant.
Maybe.
I mean, the thing is, actually, honestly, I can see that being a thing. Like he was at the vegan restaurant that she was working at, saw her name, stalked her on Insta, right? Pulled up her Insta, got thirsty, pulled her on Insta, slid into her DMs, got mad she didn't respond, and then eated her. Or I'll give you another theory too. She could have responded. And that could also be a thing if she had maybe responded or maybe teased him or let him on. That could be a thing too. Now, by the way, I wouldn't think that that does not justify murder, but I'm just saying that could be a theory of the case that would still work, and it would tie him to it clearly, by the way. That's why I say about like the same thing with the Sarah Boone trial. Like, let's say she did something really fucked up. Let's say that Casey actually did something fucked up to Bryan. Let's say that he laughed at his dick pic, right? You're laughing over there.
Is that really fucked up?
See what I mean, guys? This is okay.
An unsolicited dick pic.
Gentlemen,
you're allowed to laugh.
This is why you do not send it. Do not send it.
Yeah, never send an unsolicited dick picture unless like it's your girlfriend. Don't do it other than that.
What I wouldn't even send it to your girlfriend because you know what, that may be your ex-girlfriend soon, and you know that as soon as
maybe your wife.
It's your ex.
I don't know.
Your wife, yeah, because at least there's like a contract there, and like you've got some binding shit there. You probably got some blackmail on her too. Yeah. Hold on.
I'm trying to see if I see.
Oh my God! Sorry, some people sent me this meme on locals. Date a girl who wears glasses. It's like dating two girls when she takes them off. Wash off her makeup and then you date 3. Remove her Instagram filter and you get to date 4. Take away her meds and you could have up to 10. Locals. You guys,
the same could be said about a guy, I guess, minus the makeup, maybe.
Minus the makeup. That's very for sure. That's very true. Also, especially on that with dating apps and the filters, that is very true. All right. But yeah, guys, never send a dick pic. By the way, they're going to show it to their girlfriends. That's what people don't realize is that like I've seen this happen live. Like a girl got a dick pic while I was out. Like we were out and there's a group and there's a girl there. She got a dick pic and she shows everybody.
Was it her boyfriend? There's no way it was her boyfriend.
No, it was unsolicited. Just random dude.
Yeah, okay, but that's fair because like no one wants to see your junk unless they ask for it.
That's what I'm saying. Guys, I'm just trying to save you guys' lives here and your penises. That's all. Yeah, do not digitize anything that can be used against you. Yes. This is a question you do not have. You can plead the fifth on. You can plead the fifth on this one a lot.
Too many unsolicited ones, honestly. Not so much like as I've gotten older, but definitely too many.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's.
And I definitely showed them to my friends.
You definitely showed them?
To my friends.
How about your sister?
The unsolicited one? Hell yeah.
How about your sister? Has your sister been subjected to it?
No, I wouldn't do that to her.
Poor sister. All right.
Okay, so she's too innocent for that.
Oh, You do have to preserve the innocent ones. You know, there's so few of them. We have to.
Yeah,
we have to
she's
save
my
them.
baby sister.
They're like the koalas. You know, they're kind of dumb. You know, they kind of can catch on fire easily, but you want to save them. You know, maybe you want to protect them. So with this case, where do you see this going? Like, what do you see developing on this case, and where it goes, kind of like in the near future?
In the near future, I don't see.
Yeah.
I mean, I think. Well, what did they say? They're gonna unseal stuff in March. Is that what they said?
Yes,
I think it's March, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think much is gonna happen in the near future because I don't think that, like we talked about earlier, I don't think this is gonna go to trial for a while.
Mm-hmm.
Since he waived his right to a speedy trial, and they have to do like so much of the testing, like DNA testing. Like they're gonna want to do their own testing on the defense side, although they usually don't have the money to do that. So I'm curious about that, but I don't think we're going to see that much. There probably will be some leaks coming out, but other than that, I don't think we're going to see too much.
See, that's what I was going to get at. I think we're going to get more leaks. I think that because of the sensationalism and because every time there's a leak, it's a ballpark home run. I think we're getting leaks. I really do.
Do they get paid for that? Like, would they get paid by like CNN?
I think CNN's paying them off. I think so. I think they're saying, hey, I don't think they're going to admit that. They're not going to say that, but I think they're saying, hey, look, you guys. So
like, why wouldn't he make some extra bucks?
Yeah. I mean, why wouldn't you if you can do it anonymously?
I don't think it's right. I'm just saying it's easy.
It's in violation of a court order. But I mean, how are they going to find you unless they crack? Yeah. I don't think CNN's going to budge on that. I think they'll say, oh no, freedom of the press. Right. And they're not going to fight that too hard. They're not really going to push that.
Yeah.
Nathan coming out and saying LDB is one of the best guests you've had on. Good combo. No, honestly, like seriously,
Thanks, Nathan.
I really love talking with her. I think she's a good, has a good perspective on these things. And it's good to balance me out. You know, you guys got to deal with my degeneracy. And I just need some wholesomeness or
You're not that bad. Come on.
But do appreciate it. And also, like, I know when it's law, when it's crime, when it's murders, I know you're really your angle, at least like one of the things I think you are good at is looking at those criminal cases, things that are going out there. You did a fantastic job with Amber Heard and Johnny Depp. And I'm really interested to see what things you cover next, where you go next. I think this would be a great one to cover, obviously. When it goes towards trial.
I mean, I definitely want to. It's just like far in the future, you know?
Yeah. Are you paying attention?
At least the trial is.
Sure. Have you been paying attention to any of the trials that are coming up right now? We've got the Murdaugh trial coming up next week. Murdaugh trial.
I paid attention to the background of that, yeah. And what was the next one?
Courtney Clenny.
Oh yeah, that one I've been paying attention to.
The OnlyFans murder.
Fuck that girl.
Yeah.
She's an asshole.
She is an asshole, and she specifically targeted. I mean, this is actually put out there. Her friends have made the statement. I think it's going to be admissible. That she was targeting specifically a specific type of guy, particularly like this certain type of black guy who had a certain amount of money to take advantage of them, to use them, and she believed that she could abuse people and just buy them stuff, and that was okay. So she would do stuff like throwing his luggage outside over the apartment balcony, completely destroying it, yelling, breaking everything. But it was okay because she bought him new Louis Vuitton stuff. Like, she made that statement.
No, that's not how that works.
Yeah.
Didn't she also stab him before?
I need to check that.
Didn't she stab him once before?
She may have
I think she didn't. I think it was in the leg. No, I think he got hospitalized for it. There's like text between them saying like,
let me see. Yeah,
he's saying like, you didn't even come see me in the hospital.
Mm-hmm.
And like, yeah, I mean, I can't even imagine being with somebody that their first instinct is to stab me when we're in a fight. That's crazy.
Well, yeah, and then she asserts that it was that she threw it, right? Which they medically determined was impossible, right? It's impossible for you to have the knife stick that deep, right?
You'd have to be a professional axe thrower to do that correctly.
And even then, they're saying it was not, because the depth of the stab, right? Like, you can't get that level of penetration.
I mean, come on.
No OnlyFans joke intended, with the penetration, but
not a good enough reason to use the word penetration.
Here you go. Disturbing new text reveal OnlyFans star previously stabbed boyfriend. Okay, so there are stories out there about this that she stabbed him before and slapped his stitches.
Yep.
That's
a real
fucked
piece
up.
Of shit.
That is some shit. That's some real
Yeah.
shit stuff. Buy your mom some flowers, damn it. Okay, Galloway. Okay, I will buy my mom some flowers. Okay, all right. God damn. Okay, these people are on my nerves. I do love my mom. My mom watches every single
Why do you
one of
need
my
to buy your
streams.
mom flowers?
I don't know. I guess I'm going to buy my mom some flowers. I don't know.
I mean,
buy her
you
some flowers.
should.
Yeah, I mean, okay, she's going to kill them in like a week. I mean, she probably would prefer me to like buy her something useful, but damn, like, all right, if you're going to pay me for it, I'll do it. Like if you're going to pay me to love my mother, I will. Like, God. All right, over here on Rumble, Britt says, if Andy drops another fuck you for calling me Andy. But anyways, that's I hate Andy. Drops another for the boomers comment.
I was like, who's Andy for a second?
Yes, I know. These motherfuckers know I hate Andy, so they do it to troll me, which is fine. I'm going to go out of my way to have a talk with him in Houston. Shout out to everybody who may be there in Houston when I stop by, or in Miami. I'm probably gonna do meetups when I'm in Miami or Orlando. We'll see when I get out there. But looking forward to that. But the boomers need to be educated. I'm telling you, they do appreciate me explaining the technology. I'm just saying. Let's see. Mike says on Locals, my ex-wife was punching me in my staples when I got rods put in my neck. That's fucked.
Oh my God, I am so sorry.
Yeah, this fucked. Oh, by the way, I do know that Courtney Clenny, this is one from Locals. I did report on this. She broke Mr. Olympia's jaw. So she was previously when she was in Austin, she was dating Mr. Olympia. So you know Mr. like the bodybuilder dudes. She was dating him. Pretty. She broke his jaw, but here's the thing: some of the roids you take and the other medicines, they make your bones very brittle, right? And obviously, a lot of these guys are juicy. You know, a lot of these guys are not. They're not natty. Yeah. They're not natural. They're juiced as hell.
It's not natural. Yeah.
It's not.
No.
So she apparently hit him, and maybe he had a fragile jaw, whatever, but she broke it. And he was cheating on his wife, so he had to lie about it at the time. But it's coming out, right? This information is coming out now from people who know her.
She's going to get convicted. Let's be real.
I think it's not looking good for her as a self-defense claim. I don't think it's going to be believable, but we'll see. We'll see. I do like this meme from Locals. I appreciate all the memes, which is, I bet he's talking to other girls. How to tell if your girlfriend is a fat. Watch out, guys. Watch out. But okay. Just checking everywhere else. But anyways, that being said, I'm looking forward to seeing what's coming in this. Unfortunately, I do believe there's going to be leaks. I believe they're going to hurt the defense. I do think it's going to be a year or two minimum before we see this. But I think when this does go to trial, this is going to be Amber Heard, Johnny Depp level, because I think everybody is fixated on this trial.
Oh, yeah.
And, you know, I'll say it. The fact that they are, like you said it in the beginning, the fact
that they are. One thing that we didn't talk about.
What didn't we talk about?
One thing that we didn't talk about was that they also searched his office at the Washington University, whatever. They had a search warrant for his office too, but I don't think they got anything from there.
They didn't get anything
on the list that they gave us that they got anything from there.
Okay.
It doesn't seem like that unless like the computer is from there. I don't know.
Yeah.
Or the glove. But
yeah.
I wouldn't plan a murder at my job, so maybe he probably wasn't doing that.
No, I doubt that. And like, I doubt he was Googling it from school. I mean, I think this guy is the type of guy, if he did it, right, that thinks he's smart, right, and thinks because he's a criminology student, right? So the thought would be he knows how to plan the perfect thing because he's the guy who raises his hand every time in class. That's his teachers describe him as a model student. So the picture you would get is of a person who's trying to do it perfectly. I doubt he'd be as dumb as to do that. And if he turned off his phone when he was going there, he understood about the tracking.
He was pretty dumb.
Well, he should have left it, right? He should have left it
he
at
was
home.
very meticulous about things, but then also very sloppy about things. It's like he confuses me a little bit. Or if it's him, whoever it is, it seems like, you know, it was meticulous, but also sloppy.
Yeah. Very meticulous, but sloppy. Yes. And by the way, those who think that I don't hate on millennials, I hate on millennials and Gen Z just as much, because millennials are much less skilled than our prior generations. And to me, I work with Gen Z people, and I tell us all the time, Alana, I don't know about you, but when I work with Gen Z, they're lazier than even millennials are. Like, if you think we're lazy, they're way lazier.
I know.
I'm like, yo, can you do this basic task? And they're like, yeah, I'm gonna be sleeping.
They're like, I am feeling anxious today, and I like really need you to not ask me to do my job. So
yeah. Interesting. Let's see. Some people in the chat are talking about bone density. You know, and I'll respond. Hey, training to JoJo's. If you want to go into that, we'll do another definitely do more streams on Courtney Clenny and that. So I'll be willing to relook at the Mr. Olympia stuff and all the science on the anabolic steroids and everything else. We can do a deep dive on that, you know, if you guys dispute that. But that was the story that was reported. And now stories can be reported and they can be totally false. But that was the story that was reported, that she broke Mr. Olympia's jaw. That came out a while from Bodybuilding and BS. He has a great video on it if you guys want to check that one out.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so if you guys want to take a look at that. But something you should take a look at is the Legally Dirty Blonde podcast. Make sure you guys are subscribed here to her podcast over on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and she's over here on Twitter at Legally Dirty Blonde. Make sure you guys are subscribed, following. She's been covering good stuff. She's been a good friend of not just myself, but also a lot of the lawyers on YouTube, really like helping to reinforce the fact that the mainstream media is not covering these things the right way. And you need independent sources to get good information on Amber Heard. That was something where you got bad information. Boozy, they were lying about that, still lying about Boozy, which is going to be exposed in real time, and it's going to be fucking glorious. And yeah. Now with these new cases. So I guarantee you they're going to have a bad take on Courtney Clenny. I guarantee you that they're going to come back and they're going to come with this woe is me. You know, she was taken advantage of. He was a pimp, you know, try to make him into like her pimp who was, you know, like beating her up and forcing her to do OnlyFans.
I mean, I hope they try to, and they're wrong again. Oh yeah.
I mean, it just exposes it. Like, I want them to do it because it exposes the lie.
Exactly.
Would you ever, let me ask this. Would you consider starting a YouTube channel?
You know what? A bunch of people have asked me this recently, and I've thought about it. I don't know. Maybe.
Okay. Well,
maybe.
If you
a friend of mine, Chandler.
Oh, okay. Yeah. She's here in the chat. She's in the chat saying, I'm subscribed. Are you? Yeah. I think that'd be great. If like you two had a podcast. I think two people shows do work really well, because you kind of have a back and forth like conversation. This is the format I like the most, like one-on-one, because alone you get into the monologuing and sometimes it's not as natural, but this is a natural conversation. I think this is what people want to see.
Well, whoever said that, thank you for even thinking that.
Yeah. Max Muir said, blonde, dirty, sloppy mindset. You figure out acronym. God damn it, Max, you dirty Jap. All right. I love you. And by the way, I may have you on later. We may have to make it Rumble only though, Max, because you're too uncensored.
I appreciate Max.
That. And a lot of love from you guys on Locals and on Rumble. Very hilarious. All right. So that being said, guys, make sure you're following. Make sure to over on Locals. I will do I'll do a Locals exclusive live stream. It's going to be very casual after this, but I will do that. So make sure you guys are subscribed and check out Legally Dirty Blonde podcast. We'll definitely have you back, and I would love to have you on for some of the trials, just to pop on, just as somebody to hang out for a little bit. If you're free for like an hour or two, you know, turn the microwave off. You know, you can bring the dog,
no microwave,
but turn the microwave off. Yeah.
Different background, but no microwave.
Yeah. That being said, guys, take care. Stay based, and I will catch you next time. Peace, guys.